Well, we've taken care of right triangle trigonometry, and we started with oblique triangles in the last class. And those triangles have four cases, if you recall. We have case one, which was angle side angle, or angle angle side. We had case two, which was the difficult case, side side angle, which made a possibility of three different types of things that could happen. And one of them was you could have no triangles with side side angle, you could have one triangle, or you could have two. Well, case 3 and 4 are what we're going to look at today, and they are solved by using the law of cosines. So case 3 and 4, we're going to look at side angle side and side 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 problems. So the law of cosines is given in this manner. Now it looks very confusing. It is not. It is the Pythagorean theorem on steroids here. We're going to add in another part, which is the part that we could prove. I could show you where this comes from, but I don't think it is relevant at this time to go ahead and find the derivation of this. I'm just going to ask you to accept it and use it. So if we have a triangle with angles A, B, and C, and sides then opposite those, so something like this, then this following is true. So let's take C for example. So little c squared, which is the opposite side of angle C, is equal to a squared plus b squared minus 2 times ab times the cosine of angle C. The next formula is b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. Now, when you look at those, they're the same formula. We're just interchanging our letters, okay? So I think it's easier to load up and just do a problem. I think it's much easier to look at actual problems here. So here we go. This one is a side angle side problem. So we know that we have a side of 3, an angle of 40, and a side of 4 next to that 40. So we can easily find A, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put the parts in here because we don't like these gammas and betas and alpha. So we've got to find angle B, angle C, and letter A. Well, there's no way to find B and C, the angles, because we don't have all three sides. So we're going to find A first. So A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine angle A. You will have this memorized probably 3 times after you write this. If you write this down 3 times, you'll have it. Excuse me. So to do this problem then, all we have to do is fill in our parts. Well, this is B and this is C. And cosine of A is 40. So A squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 3 times 4 cosine of 40 degrees. Now you have to be very careful when you evaluate these. And you can do this on your calculator. I'm just doing this for the fun of it. You don't have to do that. You can literally just type it straight in, 3 squared plus 4 squared, which is 9 plus 16 minus 24 cosine 40. And you get about 6.61 and change, okay? Well, I'm not going to change it on my calculator because I want exact as I can get. So you have to take the square root of that answer, and we get about 2.57. So A is about 2.57. Now we got to find the angles. We're going to use the same exact formula. But now we're going to have to find the angle, not the side. So let's find B, for example. So that is going to be B squared equals C squared. Actually, probably most of you are going to put A squared because that comes first. A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of angle B. And then you just plug in all the parts. B is 3, so 3 squared. A squared is 2.57 squared. C squared is 4 minus 2.57, 4 cosine B. Now we're looking for angle B. So now we have to do some algebra correctly. So that's 9. 2.57 was that 6.61 and change. That's 16. And then that's whatever number that is. And I'm not going to type it all out. But what we're going to have to do here is be very careful. We're going to subtract that and that from 9. So we're going to take 9 minus that 6.61. And you could do it on your calculator if you have a newer one by scrolling up, and then you're not even rounding. Minus 16, and we get negative 13.6149. And obviously this number's going to be different if you round it. Okay? Which is no big deal. You're going to have to round it probably. Now, this is all multiplication here. So how do you undo multiply? Right, you divide. So I'm going to divide this over to here. So I'm going to multiply, or I'm going to just write this. And you can go ahead and multiply it on your calculator if you want. I'm going to do it all in one fell swoop here. So negative 2 times, go ahead and do it the way you want to. I got cosine B to be about 6.6617. Now you're going to have something different if you round it on your calculator. So now you just take the inverse cosine of that, and you get about 48.6 degrees. That's angle B. Well, 48.6 plus 40 is 88.6. So that's 0.4. 179. 91.4 degrees for angle C. So A was 2.57, B was about 48.6, and C is about 91.4. And that is how we solve a side angle side problem using the law of cosines. Now here is a side problem. Now we don't have any angles. B, C. So, and law of cosines is not fun with angles. It's just not. So if we're going to find angle A, let's say, then we know that it's going to be the formula A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine angle A. So now we plug in all the numbers we know. 3 squared equals 5 squared plus 7 squared minus 2, 5, 7 cosine A. Now, I don't care if you take your calculator right now, take 3 squared minus 5 squared minus 7 squared. If I were you, that's probably the way I'd do it. So that would simply be, and you can do this in your head, 9 minus 25 minus 49, negative 65. And then negative 2 times 5 times 7 is negative 70. So then we divide by negative 70. Good numbers makes it easy, doesn't it? So then I have to do the inverse cosine to find angle A. And the inverse cosine of that answer is 21.8 degrees. So that's A. Now we got to find C or B. Let's find B. So B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. Now I know some of you want to use the law of sines, don't you? Don't. You do not want to mix them if at all possible, because it's a possibility where you'll get the angle that should be 180 minus that. So you have to be careful if you mix law of sines. Okay? So I'm going to use the law of cosines again. And if it would help to name those sides, by all means, B, A, C, do that. So that's 25 minus 9 minus 49, right? So that's negative 33. And negative 2 times 3 times 7 is negative 42. Divide by negative 42, and then take the inverse cosine of all that. So the inverse cosine, I got about 38.2 degrees. Well, 38.2 plus 21.8 is 60. So that makes angle C about 120. And that is it, guys. Welcome to the law of sines, or cosines.